All right, you and I are diving into a betrayal that starts with one disgusting detail, a burn mark on my wife's underwear. It smelled strongly of cigarette smoke. I would never drop ash on her clothes, and my wife definitely does not smoke. I stood there frozen, holding the fabric as 1,000 doubts flooded my mind. Right then, my phone buzzed. It was a text from her. I have to work late on a project tonight. Do not wait up. Get some rest, love. I was the one who got Xiao Yu that job as an assistant at an animation studio. It was supposed to be a quiet job, but lately, she was working crazy overtime and coming home past midnight. I thought it was just the industry, but this felt like ice water poured over me. That damn cigarette smell changed everything. Someone had left it there on purpose. Swallowing my rage, I texted her. Where exactly are you working overtime? Let me come pick you up. No need, the office is total chaos right now, and I do not know when I will finish. Dropping everything, I drove straight to her office building. Only the 3rd floor had any lights left on. I could hear laughter and whispers from below, but I decided not to go up. Instead, I called Xiao Yu. I am waiting downstairs. It is too late to be safe. Why did you come? I am too busy. Go home, she insisted. Now pay attention to her panic. My heart sank, and after hanging up, I slipped into the emergency exit to watch. It did not take long before she walked out with some guy in a gray suit. They started kissing passionately right in front of a luxury car. My worst fears were real. She was betraying me. I wanted to run over and beat them both to a pulp, but then I heard the man's mocking tone. That idiot husband of yours is so clingy, right? Do not talk about him, babe. He is incredibly annoying. When he called earlier, we kept going anyway. Pretty exciting, right? How about we go for another round right now? Oh, you are so bad. Then the man turned toward the light, and I finally recognized his face. It was Chen, her company's creative director. A married family man who was always featured in industry magazines. Seeing them so intimate gave me a massive headache, but cold logic managed to hold back my impulsive rage. Making a scene would only humiliate me. I needed solid proof to completely destroy their reputations for life. I pulled out my phone and started recording as they devoured each other. As the luxury car rocked, I let out a bitter laugh. I broke my back working to save 200,000 yuan for our down payment. I endured every single humiliation just to buy that home and marry her. But barely 1 year later, she was making a complete fool out of me like this. You and I are watching this disgusting footage right now. A cold smile crossed my face. Cheap thrills cost a lot, Wang Xiaoyu. I am going to give you the surprise of your life. It was 2 a.m. when Xiao Yu finally got home. She tiptoed to bed, reeking of that disgusting cigarette smoke mixed with her cheap perfume. I kept my eyes closed, listening to her breathing, while my mind replayed that parking lot scene over and over. I would not waste energy on a useless confrontation. Impulsiveness is cheap. What I needed was absolute perfect revenge. The next morning, I made her usual breakfast. Toast a fried egg and a glass of soy milk. You worked so late last night. Rest a bit more. I cannot. The director has taken me to meet an important client today. As she spoke, a flash of pride gleamed in her eyes. What a great opportunity, I replied. I kept peeling fruit with my head down the knife, rhythmically tapping against the cutting board. The moment she walked out, I called my office to request a day off. I was not going in today. I booted up my computer and started gathering info. Then I met up with an old tech security expert friend. Adjusting his thick black glasses after hearing my entire story, he fell into a long, heavy silence. Are you sure about this? There is no going back once you start. Since I found out, backing down is not an option. Legally, I can help you with 3 things. First, I will recover the deleted text history from her phone. Second, I will track Chen's public finances. Third, I will look into the company's partner structure. I cannot go any further than that. Do not worry, that is more than enough for me. A week later, Xiao Yu told me she had to attend a sudden, unexpected business seminar. It would be 3 days and 2 nights. I helped her pack while hiding a satellite tracker inside her suitcase. She hugged me sweetly. You are the best husband, she said. But her neck smelled like Chen. Stick around with me to watch her absolute ruin. All right, you and I are diving into a story of absolute betrayal. I comforted her, then immediately opened the tracking app. The glowing red dot pinpointed her location. It was definitely not the 4-star hotel for her business seminar. Instead, it was a luxury villa 30 kilometers away, costing 4,800 yuan a night. Impossible on her salary. I immediately screenshotted her location, then started sorting through all the confidential documents my source had sent me. Her boss Chen had an incredibly interesting history, way more scandalous than I could have ever imagined. His title as creative director was just a flashy front. The actual hardworking team operated in another city. He was just a useless figurehead for the branch, holding that position solely because of his wealthy wife, Su Yuan. Her powerful father was the head of the local construction materials association. Nearly 60% of the clients came through her family. In the industry, Chen was absolute garbage. He stole employee bonuses, faked business expenses, and even embezzled company funds to gamble on the stock market. The funniest part, this guy who bragged about family values online had been separated from his wife for 2 years. Their legal agreement stated that if he ever cheated again, he would be left penniless and owe a massive compensation fee. Staring at the mountain of solid evidence on my screen, I burst out laughing. My wife Xiao Yu thought she landed a big fish, clueless that he was just a rotting broken branch. Now pay attention here. 3 days later, she came back with a pricey Bulgari necklace bragging about her fake business trip. She claimed her boss introduced her to major investors. I smiled, then subtly swiped her phone from her purse. While unlocking it, I pretended to accidentally open the recently deleted folder in her photo gallery. There were cozy poolside pictures of her and Chen. Even though they were deleted, the thumbnails were perfectly clear. She instantly went pale and snatched her phone back nervously, asking if something was wrong. I played dumb, saying I was just admiring her work photos, but I memorized the exact timestamps. They lined up perfectly with the times she claimed to be in meetings. The next day, I ran into my neighbor downstairs. Her daughter worked as an accountant at the very same company. She was the neighborhood gossip. "Hey, Xiao Zhang, is your wife getting promoted soon? Why do you ask? My daughter says Xiao Yu and Director Chen are getting too close. They even traveled alone last week. The office is gossiping, so watch her." I just forced a bitter smile and shook my head. Xiao Yu is just doing her job. I trust her. But the moment the neighbor left, my smile vanished. I bet you saw this coming. Right, these two weren't even trying to hide it. I went straight to my lawyer friend. He specializes in nasty divorces. After listening to my story, he poured some tea and gave me 3 vital steps. First, secure solid, undeniable proof of her cheating. Second, track all joint marital assets. Third, uncover what her real goal is in all of this. I'm already gathering evidence. As for the assets, we bought our house just 1 year ago. My parents paid the 800,000 yuan down payment, and the mortgage is mine. She only spends on herself. I cover all the living expenses. He told me I had to move fast. If she makes any major purchase or tries to hide money now, you must document it instantly. My friend handed me a checklist of 17 key points from bank statements to certified chat logs. Over the weekend, she wanted family dinner. I brought 2 boxes of premium tea and a massager as gifts. Upon arrival, her mother loudly protested that I shouldn't have brought so many gifts. Throughout dinner, my mother-in-law kept throwing passive-aggressive hints about the financial struggles young people face today. She bragged about a neighbor receiving a 660,000 yuan dowry, adding that since Xiao Yu earns more, we should upgrade our car so we don't look completely pathetic in front of her high-end clients. I just ate quietly, playing along by promising we would buy a brand new car with my bonus next year. As we were leaving, her freeloading younger brother pulled me aside and whispered in my ear, "Hey bro, I'm starting a bubble tea shop, but I'm running a bit short on the startup capital. 50,000 yuan. Talk to your sister first," I replied. "Get ready, because you and I are going to watch them fall." "All right, you have to watch this absolute madness with me." I just smiled and handed the bill to Xiao Yu, who glared before dragging me away. On the way home, Xiao Yu spoke first. "Do not mind Shabing, she is just a bottomless pit. I know Xiao Yu, but I have been wanting to ask you something. If we suddenly had tons of money, what would you want to do most?" "Why ask that out of nowhere?" "Well, we have been married over a year, and I feel like I have put you through so much." She thought about it for a long moment, then softly whispered that she really wanted to open her own design studio. She wanted to be an independent designer without dealing with anyone else's attitude or working crazy overtime every single day. Too bad the startup capital is at least 500,000 yuan. That day will come, I promised, kissing her with a freezing heart. It turns out she already planned her escape route using my hard-earned money to fund her dreams under the guise of career consulting. I headed straight to the law firm right below Xiao Yu's office. By pure chance, one of their major clients was the family business of Su Yuan, the wealthy wife of Chen An. I scored a meeting with Su Yuan's personal lawyer, Attorney Zhou, in a highly private tea room. I went straight to the point with him. "You must have heard about Chen An's recent behavior," I said, but the lawyer seemed to play completely dumb. I unlocked my phone and slid it across the table. On the screen, it clearly showed Xiao Yu and Chen An at the villa. I recovered that photo from her cloud backup. It is slightly blurry, but their faces are unmistakable. Attorney Zhou finally reacted to it. "Now pay attention here. He asked what I wanted, and I said my money back while Chen An pays for his sins." He stared closely at the photo, then looked up to analyze me thoroughly. We ended up talking for a whole hour. Attorney Zhou accepted a copy of the photo and made a promise. Su Yuan would coordinate with me so we could strike together. I checked Xiao Yu's bank statements from the last 6 months. And there it was. For 3 months, her account received a monthly transfer of 20,000 yuan, labeled as a project bonus. That exact same description repeated over and over with every single transfer. But her name was not even on the official company records back then. Hilariously, she spent it all on luxury jewelry and designer bags. Yet she kept whining to me about her low salary, claiming she desperately needed to look for a better-paying job. I printed out every single bank statement and highlighted each suspicious transaction in bright yellow. Next, I paid a visit to the property registry office to pull the deeds to our house. Fortunately, the house was registered solely in my name. When we bought it, she complained about the annoying paperwork and told me to sign a loan. Back then, I actually believed she just trusted me completely. Looking back, she was already planning her escape, but watch closely because that night she came home incredibly excited. "Honey, my company is expanding into a brand new sector. Director Chen offered me an amazing opportunity to invest. With just 300,000 yuan, I will get 5% of the shares. Next year, we will double it, 300,000 yuan. We do not have that much saved. Well, let us remortgage the house. The market is excellent right now. We could easily get 800,000 yuan. We can invest, buy a new car, and remodel everything." She kept rambling on, painting this gorgeous future. Meanwhile, I broke out in a cold sweat. Their plan was already in motion. They did not just want to destroy my marriage. They wanted to squeeze out every single penny of my hard work. This is serious. I need to think. But she had the nerve to pressure me, claiming great opportunities never wait around. Director Chen said he would only hold the spot for 3 days. Her sheer impatience completely exposed her endless greed. Staring at her face flushed with excitement, a deep, bitter sadness suddenly washed over me. "All right, I will ask at the bank tomorrow." "Awesome," she cheered, kissing my cheek before heading straight to the shower. The second she entered the shower, I wiped that disgusting kiss off my face. Then I called the recommended private investigator. Old Jiang was around 50 years old and looked completely ordinary. Just like any other middle-aged guy you would pass. "Mr. Jiang, I will have all the documents you requested ready in 3 days. I handed over Chen An's license plate, his daily routes, and Xiao Yu's details. Taking the envelope, he muttered that he had seen too many cases like this. "Do not worry, I will dig so deep I will know the color of her underwear." I met up with Xiao Mei, a receptionist at Xiao Yu's firm, who also happens to be close friends with my cousin. She had dropped hints before suggesting I should keep a much closer eye on Xiao Yu. "Mr. Zong, their affair is office gossip. Trust me, you and I are absolutely going to love the payback coming next. Come along with me to witness this toxic affair where Chen and Xiao Yu sneaked out together. They would leave in the afternoon and not return until the next day, flirting shamelessly at work. Even the cleaning lady caught them kissing passionately in the office kitchen. But the absolute worst part happened last week. Director Chen announced in front of everyone that he was promoting Xiao Yu to assistant manager, a role that truly belonged to Sister Lui. She had been working there for 8 years. 8 years of hard work and management, did not care at all. Who would dare complain Director Chen was transferred from headquarters, and they say his wife's family is incredibly powerful. Once Xiao Mei left, I was all alone in the cafe. Outside the glass window, the streets overflowed with endless traffic. People were rushing back and forth, hurrying toward their own separate lives, whether those lives were bright or completely miserable. Old Zhang handed over a heavy folder. It turns out this guy Chen is full of dirty little secrets. Regarding his affairs, I discovered at least 4 different women. Plus, he embezzled company funds to gamble in Macau and owes over 2 million yuan. Now he is just robbing Peter to pay Paul. He barely survives, constantly borrowing cash just to cover his mounting debts. Watch this part closely. The folder contains casino security footage, loan shark contracts, and even his confidential medical history. As for your wife, she has already been consulting a divorce lawyer. She was asking how to claim a share of her husband's premarital assets, and if her cheating would ruin the property division. Mr. Jen, I advise you to act as soon as possible. Based on their chat logs, they plan to file for divorce next month whenever the perfect moment strikes. She will sue, claiming irreconcilable differences, demanding half the house, and even compensation for emotional distress. Next month, I see. I paid off the remaining balance, and clutching that folder tightly, I walked out of the building. The sun was shining brightly, but I felt freezing cold to my bones. I started meticulously sorting and organizing all the evidence. Category 1. The affair between Xiao Yu and Chen. Photos, videos, and hotel bookings. Category 2. Chen's financial crimes. Solid proof of his embezzlement and misappropriation of company funds. Gambling loan sharks, bank details, and gaming debts climbing to over 2 million yuan. Category 3. Xiao Yu planning to hide our assets. Bank statements and legal consultations. And Category 4. Evidence of extortion by Xiao Yu's family trying to bleed me of my very last penny. Voice recordings and chat histories. I made 3 copies of everything. One for my lawyer, one for Dalu, and one for myself. Then, I did 2 major things. First, I went to the bank, changed all my passwords, and moved almost all the money to another account. An incredibly smart legal move recommended by Du. It was a preventive measure against their malicious asset hiding. Second, I set up hidden cameras near all the doors and windows. Since they wanted to put on a show, I built them the perfect stage. What do you think happens next? Xiao Yu demanded to go back to her parents' house. But this time her younger brother Xiao Bing laid his cards on the table. Brother-in-law, my girlfriend is pregnant. We need to buy a house and get married as soon as possible. Could you lend me 300,000 yuan? Think of it as an advance on the dowry. My in-laws immediately joined the begging. 300,000 is no small sum. I need to check my accounts first. What is there to check? They snapped back, annoyed. Your house is worth nearly 4 million on the market. Getting a mortgage for a few $100,000 should be a total breeze. I finally saw the bottomless greed of this family. To them, I was nothing more than a walking cash machine. They wanted to squeeze every last drop of my hard work before the truth finally came to light. A mortgage requires signatures from both spouses. Xiao Yu, what do you think? She had no choice but to try and ease the tension. Let's talk about this later. Xiao Bing, seriously, 300,000 yuan doesn't just appear out of thin air. Still, the freezing look in her eyes betrayed that she was already running completely out of patience. That night, for the very first time, Xiao Yu brought up the future herself. Honey, if we ever break up, would you give me half the house? Where is this sudden question coming from? Well, I have been watching the news. And so many couples fight to the death over their houses during divorce. If we actually get to that point, don't worry. I won't let you lose out. She seemed to sigh in relief, turned her back to me, and fell fast asleep. I stayed awake, staring at the ceiling until dawn. And trust me, you and I are about to watch her pay dearly. Dalu the lawyer and I held a critical meeting. Every single document was fully prepared for the final, devastating blow. All right, you and I are jumping into a story where Misu Wan already prepared everything embezzlement-proof, Chen-An scheme and separation breach evidence. We can sue at any moment. As for me, I also finished drafting the divorce papers based on our current evidence. We can charge her with unforgivable behavior and demand she leaves completely empty-handed, while also claiming compensation for emotional distress. Wait, you do not want money? Then let me share my own plan. After hearing it, Dalu and Lawyer Ho hesitated. Are you absolutely sure about this? The risks are extremely high. I have waited for this moment too long. Honestly, I have been waiting for this day for a very long time. I was the one who brought up the mortgage to Xiao Yu. I thought it through. It is a golden opportunity. I already contacted the bank. We can get a second mortgage of up to 1,200,000 pesos. Really? This way we invest 1 million and give 200,000 to my brother for his house. It is perfect, but they demand a clear purpose. The investment funds must go directly into a corporate account, never into a personal one. Tell your boss Chen to prepare a formal contract. Xiao nodded, visibly thrilled. She worked late that night scheming with Chen. Pay close attention to this contract she handed me. I took one look at it and immediately saw it was riddled with legal loopholes. The company capital was only $500,000, yet they accepted $1 million. The dividend terms were vague, punishing only the investor. First, I need a professional lawyer to review this contract very carefully. I have a friend in commercial law. I will bring it to him tomorrow. Come on, would Boss Chen really scam us? His father-in-law's family owns a massive business empire. Even if we are partners, the bookkeeping must be transparent. It is just a routine formality. I snapped a photo of the document and instantly sent it to Dalu. His reply was brief. Fraudulent contract, solid evidence. A week later, Xiao Yu excitedly told me that Chen An set up a meeting. They scheduled the meeting at the most exclusive private club in the entire city. This meeting is crucial, so dress sharp to make a great impression. All right? Do not worry about that. I know what I am doing. I watched her choose her outfit and apply her makeup with obsessive care. Suddenly, I remembered our wedding day a year ago. She had prepared and done her makeup with that exact same care. Honey, we should be together for the rest of our lives, right? Turns out, our forever was incredibly short. The club's VIP lounge was dazzlingly luxurious. Chen An was already waiting. You must be Mr. Zhang, correct? Xiao Yu talks about you all the time. She tells me you are a young man with brilliant talent. 2 older men there claim to be company shareholders. Later, old Jiang told me they were just actors Chen hired for 500 yuan a day. He offered his hand. I smiled and shook it. You are far too kind, sir. Boss Chen Xiao Yu told me you look after her very well. Not at all. It is only fair. She is a stellar employee. Throughout dinner, Chen talked endlessly about the company's future. He claimed they were securing a major government contract. The investment would bring returns of 300%. I played along, asking smart questions. You probably noticed how she sat right next to Chen, too, right? They kept trading lingering looks. That quiet complicity between them was absolutely unbearable to watch. Their hidden intimacy was completely sickening. Afterward, Chen patted my shoulder. Buddy, get that $1 million into the account by Monday. You will get your first payout next month. All right, I will speed up the process as much as possible. Leaving the club, Xiu clung to my arm with unbearable pride. Honey, once this investment takes off, let us buy a bigger house. One with floor-to-ceiling windows. Okay? Sure, whatever you want. In the car, her favorite old song played once again. She hummed along to the tune, entirely unaware that this would be her very last smile inside this car. Monday morning, we went to the bank for the mortgage. The loan manager was Wang Lei, my old college buddy. I had already coordinated everything with him. Jiang's sister-in-law, all the paperwork is fully prepared. The house is valued at $4,200,000, making the second mortgage limit $1,260,000. Here, Xiao Yu grabbed the contract to look it over. Obviously, she did not understand a single complex financial term, but seeing the exact figure of 1,260,000 yuan, she could not help but grin greedily. Sign, honey. I signed first, then she signed without hesitation. Stick around to watch this traitor fall. All right, stick with me, because that scratching pen on paper was the start of an absolute final judgment. Paperwork done. Lawyer Wang let us know the funds would clear in just 3 business days. Leaving the bank, Xiao hugged me tight and whispered, honey, the good life is finally starting. Oh, it was coming. That night, she actually cooked 4 dishes and a soup for a special celebration. It was only the 3rd time she had cooked since we married, and she kept piling my plate high. Once the dividends hit, we will swap the car for that BMW you liked, then travel all over Europe. Did you not want to go to Switzerland? I just kept my head down, eating silently and nodding weakly. To my surprise, when we finished eating, she actually washed all the dishes herself. She brushed her teeth, washed her face, and went to bed early, even getting affectionate looking for intimacy. I told her I was too tired turning her down. Though she hated it, she chose not to say a word. Her sudden sweetness was completely bought by that 1,260,000. The day the money cleared. Watch closely as Shannon called us to his office to sign the formal investment deal. The company was on the 12th floor of a luxury building. Everything looked expensive, but strangely barely any employees were working. "Welcome, brother. Come in. This is our chief financial officer boss, Liu. This supposed boss was just an extra from the club we saw the other day." He pulled out a thick contract and I glanced over it. The paperwork looked professional, but the trap was still there. Once the capital was injected, there was no way to recover it. Absolutely no way to get that money back. I told him, "Boss Chen, this money represents my wife's entire life savings. Please add this safety clause. If the dividends do not reach 50% in a year, I have the right to withdraw the invested funds." Chen's expression faltered for a second, but he smiled right away. "Brother, you worry too much. The government project we are signing will return over 400% in profits. The dividends will exceed expectations." She piped up, "Of course honey would. Director Chen lie to us?" I looked at my wife. She stared at me with almost pleading eyes. In that exact moment, I felt a deep pity for her. She thought she was touching the sky, but she was walking straight into the deepest abyss. I took the pen and signed the contract. Then, using the banking app, I transferred 1 million yuan to the contract account. I sent exactly that 1 million yuan to the specified account. The moment the deposit confirmation pinged, Chen's smile became genuine. Back in the car, Xiao was humming happily. "I bet you saw this coming." She immediately asked me to hand the remaining 260,000 over to her brother. I said sure, but with a signed promissory note. Clear accounts, keep friends, close. She protested why. A promissory note. She argued, "But he is my brother." I insisted. That is exactly why we must do this right, to avoid future trouble. She grumbled but dropped it. I knew all too well that she already felt the money belonged to her. I brought the new evidence to Dayu. The bank transfers the contract and the audio recordings. The proof was solid. He told me we could file for divorce now, but I asked him to wait. "I do not just want a divorce. I want to completely ruin them." He suggested filing a criminal lawsuit with civil compensation. Chen used a fake project to scam us. This directly qualifies as contractual fraud, since it is a massive sum. The police will act, and your wife will end up as an accomplice to fraud against her own husband. I stared at the folder, my fingers trembling with absolute rage. All right, but let me settle one last matter first. I decided to invite my wife's entire family out for dinner. I took them to an expensive seafood restaurant. I had already transferred the 260,000 and brought the note. Sign here. His brother took the pen eagerly, but when he saw the promissory note, his brow furrowed in annoyance. He complained. "Brother-in-law, are you seriously making me sign this?" His mother stepped in. "If he asks, do it. We are family. He is not running off with your money." The kid signed reluctantly, while my mother-in-law grinned from ear to ear. She kept piling food on my plate, saying, "Son-in-law, I always knew you would be a massive success. My daughter was so lucky to marry you." Meanwhile, Xiao never took her eyes off her phone, texting furiously. And trust me, you and I both know exactly who she was texting. Her lover, Chen. It was 2 a.m. "Get ready because you and I are about to watch a traitor fall. Old Zhang warned me Chenan lost 800,000 in Macau, and loan sharks are already hunting him down." With loan sharks breathing down his neck, he was absolutely desperate to pull out that 1 million yuan investment. At the same time, lawyer Zhao reported some major progress. Su Yuan's family sent a legal warning, demanding Chenan return the embezzled 2,150,000 yuan within a single week, or else he would face major criminal charges. The big moment arrived 1 week later, right at Xiao Yu's company 10th anniversary gala. They completely booked out a massive ballroom at a 5-star hotel downtown. Xiao Yu spent the whole week buzzing with excitement. She even dragged me along to buy expensive new jewelry and shoes. That night, every single executive and VIP client would be there. Director Chen promised to announce her promotion to deputy manager at the banquet. She wore a stunning backless silver dress that night. Her makeup was absolutely flawless as she walked into the ballroom holding my arm. Chen took the stage to deliver his creative director speech. Dressed in a sharp suit, he spoke with absolute confidence, thanking his team and painting a bright future for everyone. Deafening applause echoed through the entire hall. Nobody knew how completely despicable this man was behind his mask. The speech ended. Next, they invited Xiao Yu Chen's special assistant up to the stage. He had a special surprise waiting for her. Xiao Yu covered her mouth, pretending to be shocked, and looked down at me for approval. She walked up with grace. The host praised her incredible skills and massive contributions, despite being with the company for such a short time. With the board's official approval, she was promoted to deputy manager of the design department. She had actually become the new deputy design manager. Xiao Yu's eyes filled with tears as she spoke. But keep your eyes right here, because at that exact second, the main doors burst open. The ballroom fell into dead silence. Every single eye locked onto the entrance. Which one of you is Shanann? I am Shanann. How can I help you? You are under suspicion for embezzlement and contract fraud. Please come with us to the station. Two officers stepped forward and grabbed Shanann by both arms. Xiao Yu froze completely on stage, and the bouquet she was holding dropped to the floor with a heavy thud. She watched in absolute terror as they handcuffed Shanann, staring at me in disbelief. I slowly stood up, pulled a USB drive from my pocket, and walked toward the stage. I walked straight over to the main control console and plugged the USB right into the computer. Suddenly, the giant screen flashed photos of Shanann and Xiao Yu at a villa alongside uncensored intimate videos and extremely incriminating texts. The entire hall erupted. Turn it off! Turn that off! Right now! Turn it off! This instant! It is a lie! She screamed, lunging for the console, but security grabbed her. Then the speakers blasted a voice message she had sent Shanann saying that idiot actually mortgaged the house. We almost have the 7 million yuan. Once the divorce is final, I am laying all my cards on the table. I will tell him the whole truth to his face. I paused the video, turned to the stunned guests and said, "Let me introduce her. This lady, Xiao Yu, is actually my wife, and Director Chen right here is her secret lover. They spent 6 months wasting my money while planning to leave me broke. You and I both know karma hits hard," and she instantly went pale and began shaking. "Did you seriously think you had climbed your way to the top?" Shanann embezzled $2,150,000 from his company and owes $3 million to a Macau casino. His in-laws are suing him, and if things go right, he is getting 10 years in prison. No, that is impossible. You are lying. I pulled a stack of papers from my pocket, throwing them down one by one. Here are his bank records, his gambling debts, and his official court summons. Should I read these out loud so everyone can hear? Xiao Yu's legs gave out, and she collapsed straight onto the floor. Her elegant hair was a complete mess, and tears had totally ruined her expensive makeup. Her gorgeous silver dress was covered in dirt, making her look as pathetic as a stray dog. Without even bothering to look back at her, I turned around, stepped off the stage, and walked right out of the ballroom. Behind me, I left her crying parents, her cursing brother, and the mockery of the guests. The cool night breeze felt absolutely amazing. I took a deep breath and got into my car. My phone instantly started vibrating like crazy with calls from her and her entire family. I did not answer a single one. A few minutes later, I got a WeChat message from my friend Du. The police officially opened the case and locked Shanann up. What an epic end for this traitor. Don't you and I agree? Come along with me to see how this absolute madness begins. Tomorrow, the divorce papers are served. I texted received, started the engine, and melted into the freezing night. The hotel lights still blared as their pathetic farce played on, but for me, everything was already over. The next morning, as the primary victim of this scam, I was called to the precinct to help with the investigation. Officer Lee, running the case, had an incredibly sharp gaze. "Mr. Jen, the evidence you brought is absolutely crucial. Chenin confessed to embezzling funds, forging contracts, and stealing your investment of 1 million yuan. He also admitted your wife Xiao Yu knew everything, constantly pressuring him to speed up the process. She is one of the masterminds. She used my trust to drain our assets, even putting on a pathetic show to convince me this fake project was completely safe. I handed over all the documents, including chat logs, where Xiao Yu begged Chen to wrap up the scam quickly. The security camera footage proved she lied about working overtime while on dates, along with audio of her family extorting me for 260,000 yuan. Watch closely as the officer examined everything, frowning deeply. This case is extremely severe. It is not just financial fraud. It directly targets your marital assets. We will act ruthlessly, bringing down the full force of the law. As for your 1 million yuan, since it was sent to Chen's account and spent on debts recovering, it will take some time. You must prepare yourself mentally for the wait. I replied that the money can wait, but I demand severe punishment. Right after that, I arrived back at my house. Xiao Yu's parents and brother were blocking my path, furious, their eyes bloodshot. Zhang Hao, you heartless bastard! How could you do this to Xiao Yu? She is your wife, son-in-law. Quickly tell the police it was all a misunderstanding. Tell them to free my sister and we will forget the 260,000. I stared back coldly. She ruined her own life, and I still have the promissory note for those 260,000 signed by you. You will pay every cent. As for Xiao, she is arrested for conspiracy to commit major fraud. She faces the full judgment of the law. Do you plan to drag our entire family down with her? A single day of marriage should mean lifelong devotion. I know what you are thinking. This makes no sense. She plotted to steal my life savings yet. I am the cruel one. Did she show any mercy when they all teamed up to bleed me dry? They never imagined this day would actually come. I pulled out my phone and played the recording. Her mother's voice echoed from our last dinner together. Marrying you is a blessing for Xiao Yu, followed by mocking laughter as they took my money. Their faces instantly paled. I did not bother looking back. I simply opened the door, went inside, and bolted it shut. Desperate crying and loud banging echoed from outside, continuing for 10 minutes before finally dying down completely. Dalu handed me the divorce petition. The demands were written with absolute force, detailing how she lived with another man and committed a severe crime, which constitutes an unforgivable offense. Therefore, we are requesting that the court grant the divorce. She will leave with absolutely nothing, forced to compensate her husband for all the emotional damage she caused. Specifically, 200,000 plus, returning the borrowed 260,000 with all corresponding interest. The evidence is rock solid, the facts undeniable, and she is already safely locked away. Once the verdict is delivered, we have a 90% chance of winning everything. And the proof for their debt is completely indisputable. If they refuse to pay, we will immediately file for a judicial seizure order. Do not worry, they are losing their minds. Xiao Yu could easily face several years in prison. Chenin cannot even save his own skin, and nobody cares about them anymore. Plus, the company anniversary scandal was caught on dozens of phones. The video quickly exploded, going completely viral across all local social media. The beautiful assistant teaming up with the director to scam her husband. This ultimate revenge story became a massive trending topic. Although kind internet users blurred my face, the features of Xiao Yu and Chenan were fully exposed. Xiao Yu's old posts boasting about her fake love and luxury were absolutely bombarded with heavy criticism from outraged netizens. Right under her gala photo, you and I witnessed her ultimate downfall. Get ready, because you and I are about to watch one of the most satisfying divorce revenges on the internet. Her post was flooded with thousands of sarcastic comments and absolute condemnation. A total storm of brutal criticism and ruthless mockery completely shattered her once perfect and flawless public image. They even dug up old posts where she pretended to have made the mistake of marrying the wrong man, exposing the contrast with her actual luxury life, completely revealing her massive hypocrisy. The animation company where Chenan worked also quickly released an official statement announcing the immediate firing of this guy, clarifying that his actions had nothing to do with the business and promising to cooperate fully with the police. The Xuan family business also issued a harsh statement promising to sue Chenan with the full weight of the law. Thanks to my lawyer's formal request, I managed to secure a visit with Xiao Yu in prison. She wore her prison uniform, her face pale, avoiding my eyes. All of her old spark had completely vanished. Zhang Hao, are you here to mock me? I only came to tell you I already filed for divorce. You will leave empty-handed, and on top of that, you will pay me heavy damages for pain and suffering. And the 260,000 your family borrowed will be paid back in full with interest. Do you really have to be so heartless? I am already ruined. I might even go to prison. Going to jail is just reaping what you sowed. Now watch closely here, because seeing her desperation as she clings to those bars is incredibly tense. It was Chenan who forced me. He said if I did not cooperate, he would get me fired instantly. I am a victim too. But in your chats, you called him honey, while planning to steal all my money. Dreaming of running away together after the divorce, I did not see a single sign of you being forced back then. Wait, Zhang Hao, for the love we once shared, drop the lawsuit, please. I made a mistake. I know I messed up. I promise to be a good wife if you forgive me. I beg you, she sobbed. But to me, those desperate tears were no different from the manipulative drama she always used to get her way. That love died a long time ago. Now you are on your own. The divorce trial finally began. Since Xiao Yu was in custody for her criminal case, she had to attend the hearing via video call. Her family looked miserable in court, while my lawyer masterfully presented every single piece of evidence. Rock-solid proof of her cheating fraud and the conspiracy to hide my assets. I know what you are thinking was that seriously, her defense? Yeah, they claimed she was young and easily manipulated. The judge asked Xiao Yu directly if she accepted the divorce petition. On the other side of the screen, she was silent for a long time before finally whispering yes. After the arguments, the court took a brief recess, and 30 minutes later, the final verdict was announced. The court determined that the defendant Xiao Yu, during the entire time of her legal marriage, maintained a shameless extramarital relationship and actively conspired to steal and hide her husband's assets. These actions completely destroyed their marriage bond, violating the duty of marital fidelity, meaning the entire blame lies solely on her. First, the requested divorce is officially granted. Second, regarding the division of marital assets, excluding only her personal belongings, the rest of the property, including the house, the vehicles, and all savings accounts, goes to the plaintiff. Third, the defendant must pay the plaintiff the sum of $200,000 within 30 days for severe emotional distress. Fourth, she and her family must return the borrowed $260,000 plus accumulated legal interest. The judge's gavel banged. Xiao Yu burst into tears, and her mother fainted from the shock. I packed my files with absolute calm and thanked my incredible lawyer. Shanann's public trial for corporate fraud and illegal gambling matched him against the Xuan family's top attorneys. The evidence stacked against him was simply overwhelming. In the end, Shanann got 12 years in prison, and you and I both know he completely deserved it after all those lies. And Xiao Yu is his accomplice. Come along with me to see this final showdown. Because she confessed, she got a 3-year suspended sentence for 4 years, but also a massive civil compensation bill. In Shannon's fraud scheme, this meant that while she avoided immediate prison time, she would carry a massive debt and a criminal record for the rest of her life. I sold that house, filled with painful memories, bought a small old apartment in a quiet neighborhood, and completely remodeled it to be bright and clean. Wang Lai helped me recover some of the money hidden by Chenon, about $400,000. Even though I lost over half of it, I reclaimed absolute ownership of my home, plus the $260,000 from Xiao's family loan returned by court order. My life was finally on solid ground again. I brought my parents to live with me for a while. My mother would secretly wipe away her tears. My father patted my shoulder, telling me to keep moving forward. Later on my way to the supermarket, I ran into Xiao Yu at a street corner. She wore a cheap, padded jacket. With a completely hollow, haggard face, she was handing out gym flyers to passing strangers. Shivering in the freezing wind, she was blowing on her hands. The moment she saw me, her entire body tensed up in pure shock. Pay attention here, because she quickly looked down to run. But I walked up, and she did not even dare to meet my eyes. The money, I will pay it back. The court is already garnishing my wages, and I take odd jobs to save up. I did not come to collect. I heard your mother is sick, and that your father and Xiaobing abandoned her. Medical bills are very expensive. I pulled 2,000 yuan in cash from my wallet and handed it to her for emergencies. Starting today, we owe each other absolutely nothing. Do not search for me, and never show your face to me again. This was not pity. It was a final, permanent farewell ritual. She did not take the cash, just stared as tears rolled down her cheeks. At last I saw genuine regret in her eyes, but it was far too late. I left the bills on a nearby newsstand, turned around, and walked away. After walking quite a distance, I glanced back. She stood there in silence, looking like a broken doll, abandoned in the cold snow. Thanks to my technical skills and calm mindset, I joined a major corporation and quickly stood out in my field. Sometimes my new coworkers got curious about my past, but I simply smiled and said it was over. Oh, and I adopted a cat. In my free time, I read books, worked out, and learned to cook. My life was calm, as still water giving me peace. But wait, here is the twist, because an old friend suddenly reached out to me. Xiao Yuyu's father suffered a massive stroke, and was left half paralyzed. Her younger brother Xiao Bing took out online loans from loan sharks and fled. Her younger brother Xiao Bing completely vanished after racking up massive debt with high-interest online loans. Xiao had to work multiple jobs at once, carrying a heavy debt that seemed entirely impossible to settle, all while taking care of her parents. Her days were miserable, and, let's just say, Chen's life in prison was no walk in the park either. I heard that because he was incredibly arrogant and had offended so many people. His cellmates gave him a very special treatment. I invited my friends out for coffee to thank them for supporting me during my darkest, most difficult times. As we caught up, everyone admitted the past was behind us. Laughing, they told me I was incredibly cold and ruthless back then. It was not cruelty. I had simply realized a very basic truth. Showing mercy to evil is being cruel to the good. I was only reclaiming the life that belonged to me. Outside the window, the sun is shining brightly, and the busy streets are absolutely packed with people moving forward. Everyone moves fast along their own path. Some are walking straight toward the light, while others sink deep into the shadows. My story started with a betrayal and ended with a final verdict. But that judgment was not just meant for them. It also freed my old self, the one who trusted blindly and stayed weak against abuse. Today, that dark chapter finally closed. The sentence is over. I finally escaped my own heart's prison, and today, you and I are walking toward a fresh beginning.